The Bel Ami was written by Guy de Maupassant, a famous French writer from the 19th century. He is known for his short stories, but Bel Ami is one of his best and most important novels. It was first published in 1885 and shows what life was like in Paris at that time. The story follows a man who uses charm and manipulation to rise in society, and through this character, the novel explores ideas like ambition, power, love, and corruption. The main character of the story is Georges Duroy. At the beginning, he is a poor ex-soldier living in Paris. He doesn't have much money and works a boring job at a train company. He is handsome, confident, and wants more from life. He dreams of being rich and powerful. One day, he meets an old friend from the army, Charles Forestier, who is now working as a journalist. Forestier offers to help Duroy get started in journalism, even though Duroy has no experience in writing. This meeting is the beginning of Duroy's rise. At first, Duroy struggles. He doesn't know how to write a good article, so Forestier's wife, Madeleine, helps him rewrite it. This shows an important point. From the beginning, Duroy's success depends not only on his looks and charm, but also on the help of clever women around him. Madeleine is smart, strong, and understands how things work in society and politics. She becomes a key figure in Duroy's journey. Later on, it's clear she's not just helping him with writing, she's teaching him how to act, how to talk to the right people, and how to move ahead in a world full of hidden rules. As Duroy starts working at the newspaper, he uses his charm to get closer to important people. He also starts relationships with several women who have money or influence. One of the first is Madame de Marelle, who is married but begins an affair with Duroy. He enjoys the relationship not just because he likes her, but also because it helps him feel more powerful and confident. Duroy also learns very quickly how the newspaper business works. He understands that being a journalist is not just about writing facts, it's about choosing the right side in politics, making powerful friends, and knowing when to stay quiet. The newspaper he works for is connected to many political deals, and Duroy begins to see how he can use his job to climb even higher. He watches carefully, learns fast, and always looks for his next chance. Later, Forestier becomes very sick. Before he dies, Duroy spends time with him and Madeleine. When Forestier dies, Duroy sees an opportunity. He quickly asks Madeleine to marry him, and she agrees. This is not really a romantic decision. For Duroy, it's a smart move. Madeleine is well-connected and knows how to succeed in the newspaper world. She helps him again and again, writing articles with him and giving him advice. With her help, he continues to move up in the world. Even though Duroy is married to Madeleine, he keeps having affairs. He is never satisfied with what he has. He wants more money, more power, and more control. He is also jealous. When he starts to believe that Madeleine has had relationships with other powerful men, especially a man named Laroche-Mathieu, he becomes angry. He wants to punish her, not because he loves her, but because he feels she's getting in his way. Duroy finds a way to get a divorce from Madeleine. At the time, divorce was not so easy, but he finds legal ways to do it. He wants to free himself from her, take her money, and go even higher in society. At this point, it's clear that Duroy is becoming more and more cold and selfish. He doesn't care who he hurts, as long as he gets what he wants. After the divorce, Duroy focuses on marrying someone even more powerful. He chooses the daughter of a very important man, Monsieur Walter, who owns the newspaper where Duroy works. Walter's daughter, Suzanne, is young and rich. By marrying her, Duroy can finally enter the highest part of society. He tricks everyone to make this marriage happen, and in the end, he gets what he wants. By the last part of the novel, Duroy is no longer the poor ex-soldier we met at the beginning. Now he is rich, successful, and respected by society. But there's something cold and empty about him. He used people, especially women, to get to the top. He didn't care about love or friendship. Everything was a step on the ladder for him. And even though he has everything he wanted, the story leaves the reader wondering if he is truly happy. One of the strongest parts of Bel Ami is how it shows Parisian society at that time. Maupassant uses Duroy's story to show how fake and corrupt the world can be. People pretend to be honest and noble, but many of them are just trying to protect their power or grow it. Duroy succeeds because he understands this. He knows how to say the right thing, wear the right clothes, and be with the right people. He doesn't try to be good, he just tries to win. The women in the story are especially important. Even though Duroy often uses them, they are not weak. In fact, they are some of the most clever and active characters in the book. Madeleine, Madame de Morel, Madame Walter, they all have their own goals and ideas. Sometimes they work with Duroy, and sometimes they become his rivals. Maupassant shows that women had influence in quiet ways, even if they didn't have much official power. The language of the novel is simple and clear, which makes it easy to follow. Maupassant writes in a realistic style. He doesn't try to make things romantic or dramatic when they don't need to be. Instead, he shows everyday life in a way that feels real. He also gives a lot of attention to small details, like how people dress, how they speak, and what kind of food they eat. These things help us imagine the world of Paris at that time. Another interesting part of the novel is the way it talks about journalism and the media. At the newspaper, we see how stories can be changed or twisted to serve political goals or personal interests. Duroy learns how to use the newspaper to help himself and his friends. It's not about truth, it's about power. This idea still feels very modern, even though the book is over 100 years old. By the end of the book, the reader understands that Duroy is a kind of symbol. He stands for ambition without limits. He never stops wanting more. He doesn't care about love, honesty, or friendship, only about getting ahead. Maupassant doesn't clearly say whether Duroy is right or wrong. He lets the reader decide. Some people might admire Duroy's cleverness and drive. Others might see him as cold and dangerous. That's part of what makes the book so interesting. In conclusion, Bel Ami is a powerful story about one man's rise in society. It shows how charm, ambition, and a lack of morals can be enough to reach the top. Through Georges Duroy, Maupassant gives us a sharp look at society, media, and relationships. The story is full of smart observations about human behavior, and even today it still feels fresh and real.